It is absolutely my pleasure to welcome everyone, our student teams, our viewers, our judges. We have an amazing morning for you of some incredible innovation. You know, as we emerge from the pandemic and all of its impacts, there's probably never been a more important time for innovation. It's certainly true in the private sector, but perhaps even more so in government, where social economic infrastructure has been so critical to our community's resilience and the emergence from recovery into growth. Social impact and innovation and its role in government is why the Mayor's Innovation Challenge was originally created, and to look at process, to look at practice, and to look at new products. You know, the other important priority of the Mayor's Innovation Challenge is workforce development, and it's really on both sides. It's an opportunity for the city to see the amazing talent that's coming out of our schools, post-secondary and now high school. But it's also an opportunity for students to learn more about what government does and perhaps think for the first time of employment opportunities in municipal government. So stay tuned for a wonderful day. I know you're going to love the pitches, but before we get started, we're going to have have a few people say a few words, and I can't think of a better way to kick off the Mayor's Innovation Challenge than to ask our patron, our champion of innovation here at the City of Kingston, Mayor Brian Patterson. Your worship.
Thanks very much, Craig, and good morning, everybody. It is my great pleasure to welcome all of you to the 5th annual Mayor's Innovation Challenge. It's hard to believe this is our fifth time gathering together to celebrate the power of an idea, the power of innovation to change our society, to address challenges that we're facing, to help residents to improve our quality of life. You know, you just think about the world today, what we've been through over the last couple of years, what we are facing right now. There has never been a more important time for innovation than right now. And so I just want to say, first of all, how much I'm looking forward to this morning. This is always like one of the highlights of the year for me. So I'm looking forward to this morning. Just a couple of quick words. First of all, to all the student teams, congratulations, guys, on getting to this point. You've engaged, you've beaten out a lot of other students that have come forward with ideas, and so you've made it to the final pitch competition. So kudos to all of you for making it to this point. And you know, it's unfortunate that not everybody can win a competition like this, but I will say this, that there's always room for a great idea. And so no matter what happens today, I really encourage you to continue in the vein that you've started in your own creativity and ingenuity and civic engagement. These are exactly the sort of things that our cities and our country is looking for. A big thank you also to our partners, big thank you to Bell Canada, who have been incredible partners and sponsors right from the outset. So thank you again to Bell. A big thank you to DDQIC, Jim and his team at Queen's. Just amazing partners in innovation we are, and being able to do just great things together. And so appreciate all the work that we're able to do together. A big thank you also to David Casey from Frontenac Secondary School, who partnered with us for our very first high school pilot project this year. And it's really exciting for me that we started with bringing post-secondary students into this, and now to see the level of engagement and excitement at our high school level. I think it just shows the interest and the talent in our young and emerging generation to be able to tackle problems and present ideas. I think it's just incredibly exciting and really inspiring to me as mayor. And of course, a big thank you to our team here at the city. There's so much organization that goes into this. I can't say enough about the work that Craig has done, Amber, Brian Peller in my office. Just enormous hours of work to put something like this together. Rob at the City Comms for helping to put all this together. So thank you, and of course to the judges for your time. I know that Craig's going to introduce each of you individually, but I just want to say what a pleasure it is. We've got a great judging panel, a great lineup of pitches. It's going to be a great morning, folks, and I'm looking forward to it. Thanks very much.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor Patterson. Always great to have you driving this. It's my opportunity now to echo your thanks to our amazing partners at Bell Canada. You know, you can't say enough about somebody who's been with you from the very beginning, who sticks with you. Bell Canada has been an amazing partner of the City of Kingston, and it's doubly exciting to invite and welcome back Bob McDonald. Bob worked with me in the city many years ago, or 5 years ago, I guess now, and great to see that he's progressing through the Bell organization. He currently is Senior Manager of Enterprise Sales. And Bob, I'd invite you just to say a few words on behalf of Bell.
Thanks, Greg. It's good to see you again. It's been a while, like you said. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here with you, even if it is virtual. Hopefully next year we can get back to a face-to-face judging panel, but we are where we are right now. So first of all, I'd like to thank Mayor Patterson for bringing this event to our attention 5 years ago. It felt like a great fit for Bell, not because we're in the midst of making Kingston Bell's first smart city pilot city, but because Bell were committed to creating better outcomes for communities and initiatives like the Mayor's Innovation Challenge. In 2020 alone, Bell invested $500 million in research and development, the most by any Canadian communications company. We know, as you do, that it's not only constant change and innovation that grow and adapt with the agility to rapidly changing world we live in. On behalf of all my colleagues at Bell, I want to extend our thanks to the city for pulling this together for us today, to Queens for their partnership and support, and last but certainly not least, to the students for the extraordinary amount of thought and work I'm sure you put into these projects. Thank you, and look forward to seeing all the projects down the road. Thanks.
Well, thanks very much, Bob, and so glad you're here with us today. The next, I absolutely am so pleased to introduce an important partner, but also a good friend. Jim McClelland is the academic director and co-founder of the Dun&Dishpandi Queens Innovation Center. Jim, I'd invite you to say a few words on behalf of DDQIC.
Thanks, Craig, and really very pleased to be here participating. Hard to believe it's been 5 years, you know, I'd like to commend Mayor Patterson, Craig, and your entire team for launching this in the first place and keeping it going. I grew up in Kingston. I went to a few other places to go to school and work along the way, but very pleased when I came back to live. And it's just very exciting to see the talent that this region has really mobilizing. And it's also really exciting. I can just see from being on the screen here, people that I know have gone through academic programs at Queens, as well as some of the DDQIC programs at Queens, and then they're now very much part of the ecosystem. So there's that stickiness, that opportunity creation and livelihood creation that I think is so important and so wonderful. And you know, very, very pleased to be part of this. You know, strongly committed. It's, you know, I know from Principal Dean that he's very much wanting Queens to be a substantial anchor in the community, so this is very much you know, important for how he sees the community embeddedness of Queens as well. So I'd like to acknowledge and thank my colleagues at DDQIC, Greg Babington, the executive director, and Chloe Beesham, and Joanna Tinnis, and Bruno Morias, and Megan Soroka for all the help that they've provided in helping our end of this. And very much looking forward to having the winning team join us for the summer. Winning teams join us for the summer, and looking forward to hearing the pitches. So, good luck, everybody, and thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Jim, and absolutely thank you to all of your team. You know, we work so closely on so many projects. It's like being part of family. So great working with you. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce to not just our pitch companies, but also everybody in attendance, to introduce our judges, because we have some really some amazing judges with incredible experience. First off, it is always a pleasure to introduce Mayor Brian Patterson, the 96th mayor of the city of Kingston. In addition to leading our community through everything we've been through the last 2 years, Mayor Patterson is also an assistant professor in economics at the Canada's Royal Military College. His vision of establishing Kingston as a smart, livable, and leading city by harnessing the incredible assets we have in our community, including all of you, is about building a culture of innovation. And we're so grateful that the mayor's here again today to sort of lead us through this exciting day. Bob McDonald, who spoke earlier, is, as I said, a senior manager of enterprise sales at Bell Canada, supporting a team in this region, including Kingston, Brockville, and Ottawa. Bob is a native Kingstonian and brings more than 25 years experience in information technology to this competition. He's worked with all levels of government in both private and public sector as well. He's a respected and trusted advisor, and having worked with him in the past, I know of his love and commitment to innovation. Jim McClellan, I always have a great pleasure of introducing Jim. Jim has done so much as a co-founder of the DDQIC, but I think it's all the other cool things that Jim does that really always impresses me so much. As a member of the Faculty of Engineering and Applied Science, he's co-assigned to the Smith School of Business and the Faculty of Arts and Science. He's also connected, this one always really impresses me, to his link to the Dance School of Music. Jim is actually a semi-professional musician in addition to all of his accomplishments. He is active in the Community as Opportunities Lab, a project with the City of Kingston. Another project, the Health Innovation YGK project with the City of Kingston. Jim is a phenomena. I don't know where you get your energy, Jim, but we're so glad you made some time for us today to be a judge. Thank you. Pang Sang Cao is the VP of Life Science and Emerging Markets in Symphony. She joined ATS Automation in 2020 after founding Transformix Engineering here in Kingston. She led that for 22 years and has grown from her basement to a global corporation. She's been identified and recognized for her extraordinary talents and accomplishments, including IBM's 2019 list of top 19 tech titans. That's a tongue twister. That's a great one. She's been a recipient of numerous awards: Young Entrepreneur of the Year, Businesswoman of the Year, Business Hall of Fame inductee, honorary diploma from St. Lawrence College. She is an incredible talent, a credible speaker, an amazing contributor to our community, a mentor to young entrepreneurs, and serves on multiple boards. Pang, we're so pleased that you're here today to share your insights into entrepreneurship. Next, Norman Engdamanamana. I'm sorry, I've made a mess of your last name. Norman is another incredible entrepreneur with global perspective. He's a graduate of the Smith School of Business. I believe it was the MMIE program, which is one of my favorites at Queen's. He has incredible experience in small business and startup advisor work. He's also a startup entrepreneur himself. He enjoys helping and supporting entrepreneurs, early stage entrepreneurs, and helping those small businesses grow into medium-sized organizations. He has extensive experience in terms of facilitation, business workshops, organization of business plans, and advising small businesses. So if any of you companies are looking for help, Norman's the man for you. Norman was born in Rwanda and has had the opportunity to live and work in more than 7 countries on 3 different continents. He enjoys travel, and again, we are so very fortunate to have his passion here today to judge our competition. Just to give you a sense of the rundown of our day, we've got some amazing prizes. It's always, competitions are always about prizes, right? So really pleased to share. And Jim sort of alluded to the prize for through the DDQIC, the Smart Kingston Stream. It is an amazing opportunity, I have to tell you. The winning team will receive admission to the 4-month incubator program, the summer DDQ, the QIC program. Up to 3 founders will receive a $7,000 stipend each. They receive $4,000 in seed capital, mentorship. The training program that Jim and the team at DDQIC have put together is absolutely world-class. This is an amazing opportunity. And on top of that, as if that wasn't enough, you get the opportunity in August to pitch at their final end of term with a grand prize of up to $30,000. And again, to accelerate your business. What an amazing opportunity. I'm really proud of the other prize, and that's the public sector stream. So winners of that stream will receive a 4-month paid internship leadership here at the City of Kingston. We've had such an amazing opportunity to work with past winners to see them recognize and better understand how the city functions and the opportunity to create impact in our community. I hope that the team actually will be working with me and my group in innovation strategy and partnerships, but they'll also be involved with others depending on the topic of your project. It is an amazing opportunity and hopefully gives you insight into how you could potentially see a career in municipal government. In terms of the flow of events, we're going to be doing the 7 pitches, 7 teams, but we also have, as I think the mayor alluded to, we also have one of the winning team from our high school pilot project. Again, driving innovation to across the community is hard work. The foundation that we made with post-secondary education has been amazing, but the opportunity to get down into our high schools and engage everyone, young right down to the high school level, I think is absolutely amazing. So we're going to give an opportunity for them to show their video and to absolutely have questions from the judges. Once each of the videos is shown, there's going to be an opportunity for our judges to ask questions for about a 5 minute period. If you have questions from the audience, put them in the chat, and we'll work on getting those questions asked, likely when the judges are deliberating during the end of the session. So the first pitch is up, and again, I can't thank the Frontenac Secondary School for their incredible engagement and effort. I had the pleasure of working with the mayor and Amber and sitting on the panel for that. Each of our member teams, Ruby, Amelia, Jordan, and Federico, have won $150 downtown Kingston dollars each. And I have to tell you, all of the pitches were absolutely amazing, but yours absolutely stood out. So I'll hand it over to our tech people, to Amber, and we can get going on things. So let the games begin, and good luck to everybody. Thank you.
So Ruby, Kingston, the Kingston compost teams, are you ready to go?
I think so. Yep.
Oh, beautiful.
All right, I hope you can see us all. So basically, I'm just going to start by asking the mayor what his favorite downtown restaurant is. So, Mr. Mayor, what is your favorite place to go out for lunch downtown?
That is such a deadly question to answer. I don't. You know what? I've got at least 5 favorites, so I'll throw out a couple. But Namaste, obviously, a big Indian food. Love Diane's. I love Chez Piggy, and there's probably a couple other great ones that I'm missing right now. So.
Okay, so I'll go with Diane since it's really close to where you're actually working. So let's say, for example, you and Craig are going out for lunch and you're going to get some takeout from Diane's, and you're downtown at Confederation Basin eating your fish Sammies, let's say, and you ordered way too much food and you have all of this leftovers, and as you're walking back up to the office, you don't know what to do with it. Now, what should you do with it? You should probably put it in a compost bin so that any biodegradable things that you're throwing away can be repurposed. But odds are you're going to be throwing it into a public garbage bin. That's why Emily, who you can't see, is off camera, Emily, Federico, Jordan, and myself have come up with Kingston Compost.
So we're going to start with some numbers. In Canada, nearly 60% of the food produced is wasted or lost every year. We're talking about 35.5 million tons of food every year, which costs around $31 billion. We'll now see a comparison with Japan, which has a way larger population than Canada, but wastes less food. In terms of Kingston, we have to say that Kingston wastes about $20,000, $20,000 every week, and about 900,000 every year. Here are some effects of the wasted food. We see that methane is released Methane is a greenhouse gas that is 21 times more powerful than carbon dioxide. And it's estimated that about 7% of the world global emissions are due to preventable food waste. We also see that leachate is produced, which is a liquid that collects at the bottom of the landfills and pollutes the waterways and the soil. And it's the reason that landfills have to be monitored for up to 20 years after closing. And finally, potential resources wasted.
Okay, so our solution is to install compost bins throughout the city. Wherever there's a garbage bin, there will be a compost bin right next to it. This will give people more of an eco-friendly option to throw out their waste or any biodegradable item. We can also use the compost from the compost bins to provide soil or fertilizer in any municipal gardens or landscaping and things along that line. We also made a prototype of kind of what our design would look like. We found one from Vancouver, Canada that we really liked the design and how it was made. So we kind of made it our own and put our logo on it, as you can see. We have kind of like where we would locate our bins. We would first start in the heart of downtown along like Queen Street, Princess Street, and then Ontario Street, where they see the most traffic from like restaurants and cafes.
So we suggest that we make these bins out of hemp wood, as it's 20% stronger than other woods and more durable, which is good in the different weather conditions of Kingston. It's also a lot cheaper than other woods for how long it lasts. And to prevent it from rotting in the rain or snow, we would create a metal base for them all to sit on.
We would also love to find a way to incorporate coffee grounds, whether it be into any compost bags you're manufacturing or into the bins themselves, or even just the glue to hold the bins together, because coffee grounds act as a natural deodorizer. And because the majority of places just throw out coffee grounds once they've been used, this would be an easy way to repurpose them and put them in a place where they'd actually be used and helpful. So for the cost, so a normal regular sized hempwood block is about $34. And so for our 20 by 12 by 36 inch bin, they would be about $238 each. And then with a one-time cost of $100,000 for our tumbler, we can repurpose and recycle all of our compost into the one spot in the tumbler so that it all has one place to be. And then the third and final cost would just be to manufacture our bags. So a normal compost bag takes about 2 cents per bag to manufacture, and we would want to manufacture it with the coffee grounds incorporated, so it might be a little bit more expensive. But that also being said, we could sell any compost bags that we create, because we can see that anyone that has compost and doesn't seem to like the smell of it would enjoy our coffee grounds bags as well.
So how can we complete this? We would hope to use municipal funds, and we can also reach out to the federal and provincial governments as well. We would also be able to do some fundraising around Kingston to create enough money to make this happen. And to actually build them and create prototypes, we would hope to reach out to Queen's University and get their engineering or art students to help create a better prototype and figure out what works best before we actually create them.
So our process. So we begin by collecting coffee grounds from any downtown local cafes that are willing to cough up their coffee grounds. And then we would also consider partnering with Tim Hortons or McDonald's, seeing as they kind of mass produce coffee grounds in the amount of coffee that they make every day. And then we would begin to manufacture our bags and our bins. And then we would install each bin kind of beside a public garbage can, so that as you're walking up to throw out your garbage, the compost bin is not kind of out of your way. It's right there, ready to be used.
We'll then collect compost once a week and place it in our tumbler, filtered out once a week before the new compost is placed within. And finally, we will donate our compost to community gardens and municipal landscaping, and then the cycle will start again.
So we believe that these bins will be very beneficial for eliminating food waste in our town, and it would also be cost effective to make our town better.
So the next time you're downtown with your takeout and you don't know what to do with any leftovers that you have, think about what you should be doing with it, and think about Kingston Compost. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, team. Congratulations on being the winners of our first high school edition, and great presentation. Perhaps I'll open it up to our panel now for questions. And I see Norman with his hand up. Norman, go ahead.
Thank you, Craig. A very great presentation. I wanted to understand more about your business model. How will this business make money?
Pardon?
How will this business make money?
Mainly, this would not be like for profit. This would just be to increase the city's green foot and reduce our carbon footprint. But we could, as we're manufacturing bins and bags, a possibility would always be to sell those to other municipalities or just people in general, because I know that my compost always stinks up in my backyard, and I would really appreciate a bag that would help deodorize it.
That's great. Your worship.
Thanks, Craig. So guys, great idea, great presentation. I'm wondering if when you were developing your idea, did you think about linking it with the city's residential green bin program, right? So we already have a collection program where we pick up green bins from homes. And I'm just wondering about the trade-off between doing that, where you would just kind of link it in with the green bin program, versus your idea of basically collecting and compost and then distributing to community gardens. Can you tell me a little bit about the trade-offs or why you chose to go in that direction?
Yeah, so 100%, I can see us just adding one of the routes to the regular green bin pickup, because there's already trucks out there collecting compost. So I can see just adding a new route where it picks up all of our bins, and even just it would just maybe take it to a different spot so that we could convert it into soil and stuff to, what? Yeah.
That's great. Jim.
Very much enjoyed your presentation. A suggestion and a question. One suggestion is, if you were thinking about bags, I would suggest seeing if you could partner or collaborate with Bag to Earth, which is based in Napanee, because there'd be a wonderful synergy then with you know, a company that's being very successful in that area. And the coffee grounds piece, you can imagine how you might work that in separately if you're thinking of that. Question for you. Garbage cans at Queens, for example, have a distinct capability, right? They always have a corner chewed in the corner, a hole chewed in the corner. And so one of the questions I have is, have you thought about how you might keep rodents, squirrels in particular, out? That's a classic feature of many places in Kingston when there's food around.
So another great feature of the coffee grounds actually is that it kind of acts as a repellent to most rodent type animals. So I know one for certain is like cats. Cats really don't like it. I know cats aren't really eating our compost bins, but it does have the effect that animals so much don't like the smell of it as well. And then another way that we could encourage it would just be to put some sort of repellent on the wood itself.
That's great. Peng.
Yes, good morning and congratulations, you guys at Frontenac. I can tell you, when I was your age, I was not thinking about business, so it's awesome. Just a couple of comments as you progress through this journey as an entrepreneur, and I think it's amazing that you're starting in high school. You know, when you're looking at business, one thing I stuck on was, so you start off by talking about food waste. So I was expecting, when you're defining your problem statement, that your solution is going to solve your problem statement, which is massive food waste around the world. Okay, so I'm waiting for you to like enlighten me on how you're going to solve the problems. But then you jump into like, you know, we have this compost. So you're not solving your problem statement, which is massive food waste, right? So not criticizing, just more advice or comments for you to think about as you're going down this entrepreneur journey. The other one I want you to start thinking about, Norman brought it up, but I was waiting for you to say, this is how we're going to make money. The reality is, whether you're a nonprofit or you're a profit, unless there's money statements, I really don't know what I'm waiting to, you know, what I'm going to be invested in as an investor, right? So you got to think about that. Number three, when you were going on your journey of we're going to compost food, my first thought is, guys, there's already a product out there that's crowdsourced right now. And it's this tiny little unit that looks like your Apple computer, beautifully designed, sits on your countertop, and they're all about what you guys are trying to solve, right? So you got to touch on who's the competitors and what is the elephant in the room. Because if you have the big gorilla, which is some massive company or even a tiny company that's well-financed and heavily, and they have the capacity to distribute, you will have a very hard time to succeed. So just thoughts, not criticism. Again, applaud you guys for what you're doing at this high school level. And by the way, I also want to applaud Craig and the mayor. I've been advocating that a lot of, whether it's STEM program or this sort of stuff, we have to start at the public school and even in the high school level. And so glad to see this is happening. So awesome, guys.
Great. Sorry, Jim, did you have another question?
No, actually, just an offer, which is to say, I would very much agree with the points that Peng has made. To the team, please feel free to drop by the Innovation Center, DDQIC, and happy to have a chat with you. We've done a bit of collaboration with Frontenac in the past, and you'd certainly be very welcome. The building looks like that behind me, and I'm pleased to report that it's now open. So don't be strangers. Please feel free to drop by.
Well, thank you very much.
And yeah, just to add to Jim, I live very close to Frontenac. My son Jed is the grade 11 there. So if you guys need some advice, I'm literally like 5 minutes down the road.
Well, team, thank you so much. And again, congratulations on being the winners, the inaugural winners of the high school edition of the Mayor's Innovation Challenge. Your work is incredible. You've got a great path towards entrepreneurship. I encourage you to think about that as an opportunity in your career as you progress. So again, thank you so much. We'll get on now to our first pitch of the Mayor's Innovation Competition, and that is ImpactIQ. So I'll invite Orko, Nikolai, and Verdun to come forward. And Amber, I wonder if you can share their video.
Unique solution.
Can you hear?
Hi, judges. We are ImpactIQ, and we think we have a unique solution to a problem that affects Kingston residents every day. So who are we?
My name is Orko.
My name is Nikolai.
And I'm Vedant, and we're 3 Queen students with the vision to make the lives of developers, civilians, and the government officials easier. We have been students in Kingston for the past couple of years, and this is our way to give back to the city.
As we know, most construction projects cause service disruptions, road closures, and traffic delays. Personally, living in Kingston, I've experienced delayed foot and vehicle traffic due to construction. So I definitely understand what it's like for the people living near these construction sites who experience several inconveniences. These disruptions are inherent in construction and cannot be fully eliminated, but they can be better optimized, which is what we aim to do with our project.
So what is our solution? Well, using the Open Data Kingston public data sets, we're actually going to be assessing the disruptiveness of construction projects and identifying non-disruptive projects and disruptive projects. And we're going to be creating a model that can actually predict whether or not a construction project is going to be disruptive or not, based on the construction plan and its surrounding factors. So how does this actually help Kingston residents? Well, we can help approve projects that are going to be less disruptive to Kingston and help identify projects that are potentially disruptive and alter and modify those construction projects to be less disruptive to Kingston residents. And ultimately, this will improve the lives of all citizens by having less disruptive construction projects while we're rebuilding and shaping a better Kingston.
What's our vision? Our vision is for a kinetic Kingston. We want a Kingston that is constantly building, but do not want to disturb the flow of our beautiful city. We think that ImpactIQ can reduce costs, increase civilian satisfaction, and improve efficiency. That was our solution, and we hope you like it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, team. That's very exciting as someone who drives around a lot through the city. Getting to my destination is always important. We'll open it up for questions from our panel. Peng, we'll start with you.
I think it's the same question I had for the high school team. How are you guys making money?
So
go ahead, Vedant.
I can talk about that. So essentially, we can have partnerships with the government. So have talk about contracts with the government, as well as have an enterprise solution. So this could be a SaaS product where you have a monthly subscription for companies to pay, and they can upload their data and get relevant information. So that's what we're thinking right now.
All right, so let's just go with one of the thought there. Whether it's SaaS or not, at the end of the day, you got to figure out your business model, which I'm not getting right now. So set the SaaS part aside for a minute. Let's go with the contract with the government. Where is the pain point? I can see what you're saying about pain point solving for a consumer like us, but what would make Mayor Patterson want to buy or give you money for your product? I didn't hear that pain point. I mean, I'm sure Mayor Patterson wants all of us to be happy, but is it worth his budget to pay for something like this to reduce our pain? And I would probably argue, have never been a politician, that's probably not worth his budget. So tell me what pain point to Mayor Patterson that make him go, yep, got to do this. Because unless there's a pain point, people are not willing to pay for your product. However, so SaaS is just another business model, but it's who's going to pay, what's the pain point, and it has to be so compelling that they're willing to spend money with you.
Yeah, I can try and address that. And I think the way we've defined our less disruptive projects, these construction projects actually have less vehicle collisions, less service requests to the government. So when people make complaints about delayed bus or road closures and hazards on the road, those are issues for the government themselves, as well as having to deal with congestion, traffic, and reduced and once again more collisions. So those are all issues that eventually get related back to the government. So I believe that if we're able to create or identify these less disruptive projects that create less of these disruptions I just mentioned, this will actually help relieve a lot of the government's issues and make it just more optimal in general.
I see Mayor Patterson has his hand on. So, Your Worship, are you willing to put your budget into this?
I think Peng set me up pretty nicely on that one. I mean, I will say, we get all kinds of emails and complaints and concerns, particularly in high construction areas. So I am intrigued by it. But I think to that point, I guess what I'm trying to wrap my head around is this like a coordination solution? Let's say that there are 3 or 4 construction projects, maybe a couple of road projects and a new housing development, and they're all kind of in the same area. And your algorithm is going to help us to kind of try to space those out. So we're trying to not have too many things happening at one time. So is that the idea that the offer back to residents is that with your technology that we're kind of make sure that the amount of disruption doesn't go above a certain red line? Am I thinking of it the right way? I'm just wondering if you could help me just understand, make sure that I'm what the values are.
Yeah, so it's that and more. So essentially what our project will be able to do is we can look at a variety of factors during a construction project. So the proposed time period, the location, previous history of that location, as well as current ongoing construction projects. And we can identify factors that might deem this construction project to be disruptive or not disruptive. And we can try and alter some of those factors to make it less disruptive. So some of these other factors, once again, might include the historical foot traffic in the location, the proposed plan, what hours of the day they're working, things of that nature. And our model will essentially be able to optimize how we can reduce a lot of this really heavy traffic collisions and service requests to you in the best way possible.
Great. I see Jim has his hand up.
Enjoyed your presentation and nice to see you, Nikolai, going forward. two questions, or two parts of a question. Do you have a sense of how the municipality schedules and implements projects right now, and with respect to the challenges that you've identified in terms of the disruption and blockage? And are you aware of any existing tools that could be then used to do traffic simulation, sort of what if analysis?
Yes. So we're not, like, a part of our plan is, like, as we like get our baseline model and move forward, we'd like to like start working with the City of Kingston and construction companies to like get more information on like their current design plans, as we're currently using just the construction data that's available on like the Open Data Kingston portal. Once we're able to access that additional data, it'll like substantially improve our like model and ability to predict. And sorry, what was your other question? Oh, about how to simulate traffic. That's also part of our plan. Especially, this is why we actually need seed funding. We'd like to access tools online to create like to run APIs and things of that nature, so we can like simulate our model in real time.
Great. Norm, you have a question?
I wanted to know what are some of the milestones that you have achieved so far? What have you done in terms of trying to probably get closer to the solution that you're looking to develop?
I can also take this one, but essentially what we've done so far is we've already created like a baseline model. So we've already like done a lot of like data science work where we've created like capture zones for each construction project. So just to provide an example, let's say we have a construction project, we would create like a radius around the construction project, and then we would compare what falls in that radius the year before the construction project and the year during the construction project. And what we can see is that some construction projects have like a significant increase in the number of service requests there and a significant decrease in the number of traffic flowing through there. So we can like, so we've identified those construction projects to be disruptive, and we've already started developing a model that can predict whether or not this whether or not a future construction project can be disruptive or not. So we're already like well on our way with the baseline model just to demonstrate its feasibility. And I'm sure that once we have access to more and more data, it'll just only improve from there.
That's great. Seeing no other questions, thank you very much, gentlemen. Great presentation. All right, we'll move on to pitch number 2, Town Square. I'll invite Joshua, Leland, and Dalton to come forward, and we'll show their video.
Traditionally, when citizens are unhappy with their community services, they'll write to city councilors or stage protests to get their message across. In the modern age, people will use social media to express their opinions about certain topics, but social media can be very crowded and it's hard to get your message across, and sending direct mail is slow and not effective. That's why we built Town Squares. Town Squares lets anyone ask their community for its opinion by creating GPS-based polls. Polls are locked to specific GPS coordinates, and only people within a specific region are able to respond to that. Polls can be used to inspire change in the community by making the voice of the people heard. If you're not happy with how the city is providing a certain service, you can post a poll about it, get everyone's opinion, and the results of that can be shared to the respective officials. As well, government can ask how certain people are feeling about certain topics. If they want to build buildings in certain areas, they can see how people are responding to that. Now I'm going to let Dalton to walk through a demo of our web application.
Cool. Thanks, Leland. Can you guys see my browser screen? Cool. Yeah, so we're going to go through the features that we had time to build out this weekend for Town Squares. So to start, we just have a basic landing page. And in our early discussions about this, one of the main things we thought of was that these types of apps can quickly diverge into a lot of random content being thrown out there if they're anonymous, where people just like put out not so helpful questions or give silly replies if they have the anonymity of the internet. So we just wanted to have a basic ability to at least identify users by putting in your username. So this is a feature that could be built out further, but as of as a starter, we just have the ability to put in a username and say a little bit about yourself. And then once you do that and you log in, you are entering our app, which right away what you see is the map. So for this demo, we're centered around London, Ontario, because that's where I'm currently located. I'm a student at Western. And so you see different questions in your community, and you're only capable of answering questions that are that you're within 5 kilometers of. So we wanted it so that the answers to these questions are from people who are in that community and not from people on the other side of the world who, you know, might not have the proper insights about these questions. So you can ask casual questions such as which hackathon is the best. So in the top right, you see the poll. The person created this question from somewhere down here in London, and the options are QHacks, Hack Western, and Delta Hacks. So if I vote for QHacks, of course, then you see the results with QHacks being definitely in the lead. You can also use this for more serious things, right? So are you happy with the snow plowing service? So this could be really useful for town councilors who want to get a feel for how people in the community are feeling about various town services. So you know, snow removal is a very important topic. I'm new here, I'm not totally sure, but at least by voting, I can see how people are feeling. It's about a 50-50 split with how people in this area of the community feel about their snow plowing service. So now I'll go to the top left where we'll show how you would create a question. So you can type in anything you want. So let's say, where should I eat tonight? And put in some options. Mucho burrito, let's say. And then when you click to post a question, it'll show up exactly where you are on the map. I'm actually located right here, and this question is from our demo earlier today, but I think when I post this one, it just gets overlaid from my location. So you can see you post a question, it pops up, and now this poll is available for folks in the community to answer. And just like that, I can effectively crowdsource where I would like to be eating tonight, which is interesting. So we mentioned that only people within 5 kilometers can answer these questions. All of these are within 5 kilometers of where I am right now, but just sort of to show that we have a question that we put down in Kingston about which pizza place is the best. So for example, if I were to try to answer this poll, I wouldn't be able to because I'm too far away. So whoever's asking this question can rest assured that only folks within their community are answering it. So that's a quick overview of our app. Going forward, some of the things that we think would be really interesting to get more value out of this would be to have a mobile version, of course. I think that having the access to that right in your pocket to be able to quickly put a question out there to your community would be really useful. And then a second area of improvement that we talked about this morning, actually, when we were pitching this to the folks from the city of Kingston, is have the ability to geofence a specific location where you want your question to be seen and answered. So the way it is now is just a radius where you set like how big that circle is around where you are. But let's say there was a town councilor who was really interested, or who their constituents were in like this block of area, and they wanted to talk about building permits, let's say in this part of the community, that to be able to specifically geofence that area would be a very interesting improvement.
So great presentation, team. Fascinating opportunity for public engagement. My head's spinning, but I'm not a panelist, so I'll throw it over to our judges for their thoughts. Your work.
Thanks. I'll kick things off. Great presentation, guys. And I agree with what Craig has said. I think that the public engagement opportunities with this are pretty astounding. So I guess maybe I'll start with this good question. So there's some neighborhoods in the city, they have Facebook group, right? So a Facebook group for like McBurney Park, we have a Facebook group for Greenwood Park. And it's basically kind of that network effect where everyone's kind of talking to each other. So can you tell me again, like a nutshell, like where the added value is? So if I was to go to those neighborhood groups and say, you know what, I should really migrate to like town square rather than your Facebook group, what would be like the pitch that you would put to them?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for your question. Thanks for having us here this morning. So the value proposition for us with this product over existing social media platforms is that, firstly, social media platforms right now are very crowded. And so only the loudest voices get heard. So when you have a poll, the one that gets most engagement gets brought to the top. So you don't necessarily get the most accurate feel of what people are currently saying in the community. But secondly, and I think more importantly with this, what we're aiming for is something that's more trusted. And so one of the features that we would like to build out is by partnering with the city of Kingston, for example, we'd be able to have an identity management system where the people on the platform you can trust are from this area or from the city of Kingston, for example, whereas on Facebook, anybody can get in there, anybody can join the group, and that can really clutter and you can get all kinds of responses on there. So to be able to trust that the questions you're putting out are to people from that community, I think is where the value really comes from with this.
Very interesting. Peng, I see you have a question.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and what a great idea, particularly with all the, media on what's happening with Facebook and whatever their new companies call, and, Twitter and so on and so forth, where there's no security. So if you can build on what you just said, this idea of trust and how do you secure that trust, I think that's going to be powerful. But again, I don't want to keep sounding like a broken record, but so far I've not heard, like the other group, how are you going to make money on this? What is your revenue model? Because there's a lot of companies that are creating apps, which seems to be the new .com for those of us who are old enough to remember the .com world. A lot of business now are focusing on apps, and I understand why. And there's a lot of companies that are not making money or can't even get started. So I'd like to hear a little bit more on your the revenue model, really.
Yeah, I can take that. Our plan for how we're going to monetize this is we're going to license it to municipalities. So similar to how Slack works, where they get revenue from a particular business and they pay for the amount of users on that network, municipalities, depending on how many users within their community, are going to pay per the usage. And we think that because of that, we can be pretty profitable from the start, because it would just be upfront. On day one, people would start paying as they were using it.
Okay, I see Bob has a question.
Yeah, I just wondered how you determine where where the person is located. Is it by IP address, or is it how's that accomplished?
Thanks for the question. I can take that. So when we built the web app, we just used like the browser's built-in location services functionality. So that's based on the GPS location and not IPs.
Okay. Now, I just have one quick follow-up question to that. So if the person has blocking put on, you just don't allow them on the site?
So how we handle that right now is we let them still load the website and see polls, but they can't answer a poll because that would corrupt the results, of course, because we don't know where they are.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Jim.
Very much enjoyed your talk, and Bob actually asked one of the questions that was occurring to me as well. Do you have any concerns about abuse of this? And you can imagine how you might gamify it by getting a whole bunch of people to reply to the poll or try to skew things like that. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, for sure. That's something that came up in our experience at the hackathon Q Hacks. And in our discussions with industry professionals and people from the city. So how we thought to handle that is, one, with the identity access management. So like a formal KYC process where we have an identity for every user. And then when we discussed with the folks from the city of Kingston, they mentioned how if this was implemented with the city, they'd likely have their own administrators being able to control content on their back end, basically, and filter out any nonsense, essentially. Thanks.
That's great, and thank you very much. Great presentation. We'll move on to pitch number 3. Shoaib, using waste to create an animal feed product. Amber, I'll have you run the video.
Hi. Hi, my name is Shohai Pedokil, and my pitch is solid waste remediation by bugs. All about me, I'm Shohai Pedokil. I'm a second-year SLC student taking civil engineering technology, and I plan on utilizing the articulation agreement with Queens to take on the BEng. I previously studied chemical engineering technology at Sheridan in the environmental stream, and I have almost 1 year of experience as a project technician at Public Works Canada. My idea is to utilize a readily available, accessible, patent-free technology to tackle a common problem, which is solid waste. It's pretty vague, but specifically I'd like to tackle food waste and animal excrement, specifically at farms raising livestock. So why food waste and animal waste? The main problem with these types of waste is that they create problems for the environment and society. Food waste specifically takes a lot of embodied energy from labor and transportation and fertilizer and farming, and it just ends up in landfills or compost just to like waste away in the soil and air. I think that's a pretty big waste. Solid animal waste can make its way into waterways and surface waters where it devastates entire ecosystems. Think of algal blues and anoxic environment for fish, aquatic life. And, basically there's a way to create an industry out of this while solving two problems. This is where my idea comes in. It's bugs, specifically the black soldier fly. These insects can turn waste and food and animal waste to a protein-rich food source, the mature larva. And depending on the feedstock used, the larva can be used as animal or human protein supplement, for like trout hatcheries or pet fish or pet lizards or chicken or pig feed. The larvas can turn something like waste into something meaningful. The larva also turns waste into protein-rich animal food while mitigating environmental harm and creating fertilizer. And possible products or outcomes are, contracts with trout fisheries for a sustainable, ethical feedstock, pet food products for owners who really care about the environment, think holistically about the products they buy, and business or consulting services with farms to incentivize a better waste management procedure to create a source of income and work toward eliminating a real environmental hazard. Basically, that's the process diagram. Food plus animal waste turns into protein, and it's just an idea that there'd have to be, an enclosure that needs to be designed. And there's methods of collecting and gathering the waste and laying it out. There's some overhead and manual labor required. But, keep in mind, a 5 kilogram bag of these larvae sell about $110 on Amazon. So a lot of money is to be made. So, and the feedstock is, for the most part, I think free, minus the methods of gathering. So I think, why not? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Very, very interesting proposal. Very laid back in your presentation, but it's a very serious topic. That's great. Questions from our panel? Jim.
Enjoyed your talk, and some of that, the mealworms are near and dear to my heart with plastics. From a business standpoint, what are you imagining your business would be? Would it be, some specific designs of like a process technology that you might license? Would this be a service that you would then provide so that you would actually, what do you imagine the end point for the business that you're proposing?
I'm kind of hoping towards, creating a product to actually, sell to, I guess, the start to small scale users.
Mm-hmm.
And as the production capability is scaled up, kind of like, reach out to creating contracts with like, fisheries or livestock people who like raise livestock like pigs. I was like looking at it from like multiple perspectives. It's kind of looking at it, you know, for creating a product, also kind of like consulting people to manage their waste to create a source of income for themselves. And I was also kind of looking at, you know, like hobbyists or people who are kind of looking to make a greener impact, kind of, you know, like selling and designing these modular units that, you know, they could do in their apartment or on their balcony, something like that. It's kind of looking at it from multiple perspectives, basically.
Thank you.
And I also did create an Excel sheet to kind of like, you know, crunch some numbers. I could share that. Sorry, I haven't used Zoom before, so I'm not really sure how to share my screen.
I'm good myself. I'm happy to hand over to Norman. Thanks.
Yeah, maybe you can email that to
oh, sure.
to Amber, and we can look at it when we deliberate. Norman, I see you have your hand up.
Thank you so much. I think a very great idea, and really kind of makes me wonder, like, where are the bugs coming from? Where are you getting the bugs from? Or are you going maybe to have like probably a component or an aspect of the business where you have to farm the bugs? And then another question to that is, what could happen, what could go wrong in case the bugs go out of maybe control? Could they cause any other harm in the community or in the environments where they are located?
Yeah.
And also tell us if you have seen this maybe work anywhere else and how it's working.
Okay. So basically the great thing about the bugs is that they're native to North America. They're actually a part of the fly family. They're one of the biggest competitors with the common housefly, and generally they're in a situation where they outcompete each other. So finding them, I guess seeding them, I could just buy it from like there are other businesses kind of selling this, but they're not present in the Canadian market. So I'd get the eggs from there and then rear the bugs. Some problems that could come out of it. Well, the bugs generally have a really short life cycle. It's usually very quick. They spend most of their lives in the larval stage, and they generally go into their adult phase just to mate. So they have a very short life cycle. They're native to the habitat, and they compete with houseflies. So there isn't really much that could, you know, go wrong with the idea. It's actually being done a lot in developing countries. There are a lot of companies like in China and Africa using this method to create livestock feed. And a lot of very large producers in the US kind of are interested in it, specifically Tyson Foods, which has a very large stake in beef, I believe.
Jim, I see you have your hand. Oh, to your worship, I see your hand up was first.
Your worship, you want to go first?
Sorry, Jim. Yeah, I'll just quickly jump in with one question. This is a very interesting idea. I've never thought of this before. Are there like a lot of like environmental regulations, or like is there a lot of, you know, federal, you know, like approvals to be able to use something like this? Like you said, it's being used in developing countries. Just curious to know, what does that look like from a regulatory point of view?
From the regulatory point of view, in Canada and North America, bug insect feed is approved for feeding livestock. I just I have some notes here. I forget the regulatory body, but AAFCO, that's it. They've approved it in the US, and I believe it's also approved in Canada.
I just went on Amazon, and you can buy some of them for $8.58. Jim.
Just a quick question. If I were to do a life cycle analysis, looking at sort of competing paths from crop to food, and then either back to compost in the soil, or and then, you know, through a growth cycle back to the vegetable if I did a comparison, do you have a sense of what the life cycle analysis advantage might be, for example, in terms of greenhouse gas or anything else, compared to these two kinds of parallel approaches?
I guess in comparison to doing composting, I believe there's a lot of anaerobic digestion that goes on with that. So, with anaerobic mechanisms, a lot of methane's produced, which is a much harsher greenhouse gas compared to this, which is, I believe, for the most part, aerobic, so carbon dioxide, which is less devastating for the environment.
Thank you.
That's great. So thank you very much. We'll move on to our next pitch. Very interesting proposal. Next up is pitch number 4, Project Hazelnut. And Barilio will bring you up, and Amber will put up your video.
Presentation. My name is Braulio, and I am. Thanks for watching this pitch presentation. My name is Braulio, and I am part of the Artificial Intelligence Club at Queen's University, QMind. Now let me jump right away to the introduction of the problem we are trying to solve. Every time we encounter a new environment, we dedicate most of our time and energy to understand those new surroundings. For example, when we enter to a new job, we spend the first few weeks, maybe even months, figuring out how to do fairly basic things, such as knowing who is the best person to ask for help with a task, like who can help me with the budgeting issues, maybe getting paid leave approved. And don't get it started on how it is on a job that is fully remote. Companies can spend an average of $1,300 per employee to get their newly hires up to speed, and this is only taking into account their onboarding training. If we include the opportunity cost of that employee not working at their 100% for the first 9 to 12 weeks, that cost almost doubles. It is really a lot of time and energy spent so we can make sense of our environment. And the funny thing is that this happens even if we are not new to the job. And that is where we step in. Hazelnut is an AI tool that helps you make sense of any environment. It is designed to take advantage of all of the knowledge of an entity and convert it into navigable visual content without the need of manual inputs and manual updates, because we know nobody likes that. It works by scanning a directory in your computer, extracting the text from Word documents, PDFs, and even images, and processing the text and then converting it into vectors that we can visualize as part of a 2D graph. This is an example of us looking at the project lookbook from QMind last year. We see that we got several of the project names, and we can see how those projects relate to each other, giving us insight that we didn't have before. Imagine what we can do with all the public data from the city of Kingston. The vision really is to create a whole new way to work and collaborate, starting by reshaping the way we interact with information. Last but not least, this project couldn't have been possible without this amazing team. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope to hear back from you guys later.
Thank you very much. Very, very interesting. It comes to mind immediately. We're doing some work on redesign of our city website, and I'm trying to understand the relationship of all the different content we have. But anyway, questions from our panel. Jim.
Very interesting idea. And question I have for you is, you're talking about doing this in the context of scanning stuff on your computer. I'm wondering whether there might be a more compelling case where I've just arrived in Kingston and I'm trying to learn a lot of different things. And so I could tell it to go and do this to, websites with information about all sorts of different things, and then, produce the same kind of visual summary.
Yeah, that's not an issue. But let me just take a step back here and really clarify how we're targeting this. So we're really looking to target companies and people working for them. So in principle, this would work with directories in your computer and in anybody's computer that has the app. But in the case that you mentioned, we also have a web scraper. So if we don't have the files in our computer, we can just type the URL. It will go through that website, grab all of the information, and present it to you. No problem.
Very interesting. Your worship, question.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm just trying to think of different applications for something like this. So you mentioned in the presentation that companies spend an average of $1,300 getting a new employee up to speed. I'm just curious to know, like, where that came from. I mean, obviously that speaks to perhaps like a willingness to pay for a product like this. Can you tell us a little bit about where you got that data from?
Yeah, so that was from a consulting company study in the US, actually looking at tech companies in the northeast area of the States, which is, I think, one of the closest markets that we have here in Southern Ontario. So that's where the pricing comes from. And we had to narrow it down somehow as to get a precise number. So that, am I answering your question?
Yeah, no, I guess just a quick follow-up then.
Yeah.
Is that cost like exponential, like based on the size of the company?
Oh, I see what you mean. No, that's like an average per employee. So it would compound with more employees that you have. And it's taking into account, at least from this study, was taking into account all of the onboarding training, salaries for people whose job is to train people, and other resources, like some companies have websites that they're paying for to train the employees.
That's great. Pen.
Sorry, I muted myself. So I was going to say it's a neat idea. You're basically looking at use AI to increase companies' productivity.
Exactly. Thank you.
So for a presentation that is so compressed for time, you kind of took me on a journey that didn't actually tell me what you're going to do. I think I kind of like the last second going, oh, they're talking about productivity. So if I can give you feedback is, streamline that problem statement, because I was waiting for a problem statement. You literally start with, I have a problem statement. I'm like, great, I'm ready to write this down. And then you go on this journey and I was like, okay, so maybe it's about environmental stuff. And then it's like, nope. So anyway, so if I can give you any feedback for your next presentation, like narrow down to, here's the problem statement, productivity is an issue with onboarding, blah, whatever it is going to be. So great product, great ideas. Again, going back to what I've been saying is I don't understand your financial model. I don't understand where, who are you charging? But for you in particular, is that this is such a broad technology in the sense that it's not product or even division specific, right? So really think about my background is all about commercializing technologies. And so when you have a technology that's unique, you really want to target, well, who am I targeting? Who's my market right away? And if it's the municipality, then so be it. And then how are you charging for this?
Yeah, a great question. Thank you. Let me try to answer that. So it is true. It is a multi-purpose tool. So we are not looking at different sectors, but different company sizes. So first of all, we're looking at a SaaS model. So where we target customers that are medium to big companies, which we think are the ones that might need this product the most because they have more employees, more documents, more information. We foresee the possibility of a freemium way for small companies. It would be a monthly or yearly subscription. That would be the best for the customers. And what we offer is the software. So we provide the software, periodic updates, technical support. And just to, as you said, just to really nail down what I think this software looks like, let me just say we're 6 months in the future and we have it running. So we have something like this in your computer, how to submit sick days. So this is something I could be asking to one person. And Hazelnut tells me, I'm going to look at the directories in your computer that are related to work, other people's computer that have given access to it, and it's telling you the answer. How cool is that? This is what we're selling here. We're selling adaptation to the current work environment. We have the sick forms. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Is it fair to say, based on, you brought it up twice, but not really, not focusing, but kind of offhand comments that you made twice, this sounds like a productivity specifically for human resources. Is that a fair statement? So it's
No,
not like if you look at a corporation, you're not going after, let's say, operation or even the accounting department. You're very specifically focusing on productivity tool for HR.
It is, so the user, so we have the clients, those are the companies, and the users are really just your average employee, your average team members. This is so that team members can ask all of those questions that we have, but we don't know who to ask to, especially if the work environment is changing constantly. I hope that answered your question. So really the user, so this is supposed to be a lightweight app, so anybody can have it in their computer. They just go and ask questions. So imagine Google, but for your work and with some nice visual presentation.
I can keep going. I'll let others talk, but
Yeah.
I think we had Norman. Did you have a question?
Yes, thank you so much. I think an interesting product, but really difficult to kind of understand its value proposition and how it's going to solve the problem. As Peng was asking questions, I was imagining of probably an alternative user case, and one that I had in mind that could actually probably maybe be piloted as soon as they have like a product that can, or a minimum viable product that can do that is, let's imagine, for example, when someone is trying to understand the laws, probably like in an industry, and you are probably trying to understand what has happened, for example, in Kingston, when it comes to construction regulations and laws, what has changed, what has not changed, what are the trends. I think based on how I understood the solution, if you applied it in that kind of scenario, and then the user gets information about the new laws, laws which have changed, or probably potentially coming laws in a dashboard, and then you can easily probably navigate them. I think that would be probably a good user case scenario for the solution, the way I understand it so far. And the question I have is, have you done any pilot? Have you, what are some of the milestones you have achieved so far?
Well, that's a great question. So we do have milestones, right? So the AI part of it, data extraction, scanning directory, that is done. We are working on some features like the search engine, the visual identity. It's also done. We have like a compelling visual identity to paste into the user interface. So really, what we are like, the next milestones would be to generate the user interface, because the back end, it's ready to go basically. I hope that answered your questions. As for the development of this app, we are following a user-centered development. So we're taking feedback into account. For the time being, it's only informal feedback from people close to the project, not working on the project. And that's what we are going with. I hope that answered your question.
That's great. All right, yeah. We'll move on now, just in the interest of time. Thank you very much. Very, very interesting proposal. Next up is group number 5. Off we go, and I'll invite Sean and Salvador to come forward and have Amber play their video.
Hi, we are Sean and Salvador, marketing students at St. Lawrence College, and also new Kingstonians. This is an amazing place with a plethora of things to do, visit, and explore. But as any other place, touring within a city can be complicated. For example, when in large groups, it can be hard to hear what the guide is saying, keeping up the pace without taking a break. Or when you go to a museum and you just get the very basic information. What about schedules incompatibilities? Maybe you want to do a tour early in the morning before the sun scorches you. Maybe there's no tour options available in your preferred language. Now there is a new way. Off we go.
A platform that provides a unique tourist experience with engaging stories made by storytellers and historians. Meet Pam. She is visiting for 3 days with her husband, looking for an engaging experience that lets her connect with Kingston. All she has to do is set up her profile, and Off We Go will automatically generate an itinerary of tours and activities that match her preferences, including a GPS-guided route and augmented experiences. Pam has chosen to go on the Architect Tour in downtown, narrated by François-Xavier Rochelieu, the architect of the St. Joseph Church and also one of the earliest stone buildings that is still surviving in Kingston. Pam will also get to see pictures from back in time to get a better sense of how the urban scenery looked back in the day. The next day, Pam and her husband will take the Artist and Makers Tour, visiting shops around Kingston, listening to stories from the artists, and having a first-hand experience in a pottery workshop.
During her visit, Pam and her husband will need a break. Off We Go will suggest local businesses that match her profile. The platform will work along with Kingston shops, restaurants, and hotels to bring in new customers and support the local economy. Also, the data acquired can help the city make informed decisions on how to develop Kingston.
After a lovely visit, Pam cannot wait to come back and keep exploring the endless possibilities that Kingston has to offer through Off We Go. The business model includes different revenue streams such as business ads through coupons, in-app ticket purchases, and premium content. We have created a development timeline that allows us to release the first version before the end of the year and keep upgrading it all the way to the metaverse. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you around Kingston.
Well, thank you very much. Great presentation. Pang, I see your hand up.
I can hardly wait until we can do this in person. I don't have to keep worrying about being muting myself. By the way, so I just want to start off by saying, wow, love the presentation. I love the fact that, you know, you're selling us this business model that you have about telling story, and your presentation is telling us the story. So love it. That was great. Well done, guys. And you know, if you can just maybe touch again a little bit more, who are your competitors right now? Because if I look back, because that's how old I am, 15 years ago, I had started a CEO roundtable, and there was a company back then that have done very similar to what you guys are doing now. What are some of the challenges that you see in terms of preventing you to be successful?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So currently there are similar apps and platforms out there, but a lot of them revolve around user-generated content. We want to focus more on like a curated experience that offers a higher level of quality than what you would get from just anybody being able to submit their own tours. So we want to make sure that when you take a tour, that you are going to come away with a story that you can go home with and tell your friends and family about, like you really immersed yourself within the culture of the city that you're taking the tours in.
Mayor Patterson, I see you have a question.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, and great presentation, guys. That was great. I guess my question is, and I know this skipped over quickly in the presentation, but how much information does your app require to kind of put in to customize? So how targeted is this? Was it pretty just general information just on a few interests, and how do you get that balance, you know, and the amount of time and information to get something that's really, really tailored versus just a few general facts to throw out a few ideas?
Yeah, thank you. So we're thinking in age, your energy level, and interests. And of course, if you are from Kingston or from another city, because that will tell us how much time you have to spend, and maybe we can offer you other type of content. If you're a Kingstonian, maybe we can add you to activities that are happening or they are coming to the city, so you will become a tourist and a recurrent user of the app. Yeah, it's like basic information, and then other data gathering that we will have for improving the service and give it to the city to improve the city development and tourist offers.
Great. I see Jim has a question.
Really enjoyed your talk as well. And question that I have in terms of the content itself, you're going to curate, but I'm wondering, could you turn this into sort of a platform model where there might be, people who actually want to try to make livelihoods from creating this content, and use it that way. And could that be then a differentiator from, the sort of crowdsourced type thing? The other thing I worry about is, whether, Google, for example, just flicks a switch and, all of a sudden they can add that capability. So I'm just wondering if you could speak to that a bit more.
Yeah, of course. So first, how to create the content is in using with a historian or a fact checker and a storyteller. So that's kind of unique. And then if we want to, because we thought about involving people to create their own content, because if you find someone in Bogota that wants to do a graffiti tour, you want that because he knows about the neighborhood, he knows who artist was in that wall, etc., etc. That's totally a possibility somewhere in the third stage that we already thought, but we need to still be kind of give the guidelines for that content to keep the quality of it, because the important thing in this platform is how you tell the story. And it's just like TED Talks. TED Talks, they don't do the content, they give you the guideline to the event, and you move forward from there.
Yeah, and so that's, yeah. So think of it like an app store, except that you got anecdote objects.
Exactly.
Yeah. No,
I would like to just, if I could just touch on, like, let's say Google being able to flip on a switch, I don't think they'd be able to get the level of detail that we would want to get by working with the locals, let's say in Kingston, to provide the stories and the narrative that we would really work with them. Google wouldn't be able to work with them on that such a granular level.
Norman, you have a comment, question.
Thank you so much. A fantastic pitch, really very well done. I think in the pitch I heard about the metaverse, and when I hear about the metaverse, I think about accessibility, because we know very well that as it is today, it's very difficult to access it from like traditional screen, usually headgears and those type of things. What are you thinking about it, about accessibility, or what plans do you have to make sure that people can access it on their mobile phones or laptops?
So in the early stages of the product, we would have it as an app on your phone that would have audio narration for you. And then in the future, as the platform progresses, we'd like to have things where we have, let's say, augmented reality, where you can hold up your phone to look at an area and it would overlay a scene of what that area might have looked like in the 1700s, or being able to use virtual reality. So let's say from your own home, you could use virtual reality to take these tours without having to even leave your chair at home.
Yeah, we were also thinking in including more languages than the regular English and French, indigenous, or the ones that are more often used by the people going to that place, let's say Chinese or Spanish, etc.
Well, that's great. Thank you very much. Great presentation. We'll move on just in the interest of time to our pitch number 6, K-Smart, using NFTs to foster arts and culture. Ahmed and Nyonso, I'll pass it over to you, Amber, for their video.
Thank you. Welcome to our presentation by K-Smart. K-Smart, making cities insightful. Our team is composed of experienced technology professionals with diverse backgrounds in 5G communications, machine learning, cloud computing, and blockchain technologies. As part of the Mayor's Innovation Challenge, K-Smart proposes to use NFTs or non-fungible tokens for the promotion of local arts and culture. The City of Kingston's strategic plan outlines several areas for economic development. This plan strategically gives importance to rich culture and heritage of Kingston by making a commitment to fostering local arts and culture. The post-pandemic era has offered challenges to the artists community globally, and Kingston is not immune. The recent advances in computing technologies has allowed for the emergence of blockchain tech, which today are the driving force behind NFTs being able to support the development of arts and culture globally. Now let's talk about what are NFTs. NFTs are digital tokens that uniquely identify tangible or non-tangible, non-fungible assets. Examples of non-fungible assets include paintings, sports memorabilia, audio such as songs or music, and video collections such as films or commercials. NFTs are created using blockchain technology like Ethereum on NFT platforms where they can be bought and sold. Artists have two options. Either they can create new digital art as NFTs or convert their real and current art into NFTs. The past couple of years has shown an incredible increase in sales and popularity of NFTs. Private art collections have been traded and sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just for an example, last year, the trading volume of NFT sales for Q3 amounted to almost $11 billion. NFTs have become a global phenomenon. They are not just being embraced by the youth or crypto enthusiasts, but professional artists and social enterprises like museums and art galleries have also started to enter this domain. Kingston has a dynamic art scene. There are public and private art galleries and studios with huge collection of quality artwork. Kingston also has an energetic world of performing arts. There's the Kingston Symphony Orchestra, the Jazz Society, the Meister Singers, the Poetry Collective, and DJ Majorki, to name a few. The public galleries and museums can also benefit from joining the global network of museums that are creating digital NFTs. Finally, NFTs provide opportunities for growth and career advancement in the field of arts and culture for our youth. K-Smart assessed this proposal against the main criteria evaluations set for the MIC competition. Briefly speaking, we found this proposal highly feasible with low risk and low budget constraints, and a great ability to positively impact the artist community via both recognition and monetary reward. K-Smart also conducted a SWOT analysis. We found that the project's strengths and opportunities outweigh any risks or threats. The main strengths are global reachability, low cost of ownership, and royalties, whereas the main weakness is lack of awareness, which can easily be countered by proper training and technical support. A financial analysis of the NFT project conducted reveals that the profits will outweigh the costs because of the free cost of ownership of NFTs. Following is a suggested product roadmap in order to implement this project. Further details and timelines can be discussed later. Thanks for watching our video proposal. We hope you liked it. In the end, we would like to thank the organizers, especially Mayor Brian Patterson and his team, for giving us this opportunity. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at the email given.
Thank you very much. That's very interesting, very timely, given the effects of the pandemic on the arts and culture community. Questions from our panel? Jim.
Very interesting idea. And it kind of sets the stage for, in a sense, very certified or verified e-souvenirs from your visit. And it also occurred to me that you should maybe think about getting together with Off We Go to have some sort of custom, special, limited run type anecdotes in their platform as well. Do you see, though, like the kind of, you know, whether it's visual art or performance that's captured with this, do you see that then that it becomes some sort of an investment? I'm interested in what you see as a sort of primary reason that, for example, a local artist might want to see their work then turned into an NFT.
So there are a lot of people that are actually doing NFT. I would start with like one of the slides in the presentation, the video proposal, where I was mentioning, we were showing that there are other companies like Walmart, Coca-Cola, Even the Montreal Canadiens, they have started their own NFT website, and NHL in US and the NBA League, they are selling their items as NFT memorabilia online. So for the artist community themselves, they would be creating not just their own physical art. So you can sell an NFT backed by real art, physical art, but they can develop art like digital art in the metaverse universe. So for example, they can be part of the metaverse that by metaverse means the virtual world. So for example, like especially this idea has been, the enthusiasm in this idea has developed because of the pandemic mostly. And that gives opportunities to artists like performing arts, those who create visual arts, and those who create other kinds of digital art. It gives them opportunity, a platform. And I do think that there is scope for them, for visibility as well as for monetary purposes.
Great. Norman, I see your hand up.
Thank you. A really great project. I think the timing is ripe for NFTs. Maybe one of the things that I wanted to understand more is more details about the cost of the project or a project, and then how soon can we see, let's say, a Kingston-based NFT project or artwork or whatever you might choose to go for first, kind of successful and on this platform?
So, so the time to market for this, it can be like depending on how you want to take up this project. So there were a number of ideas that we discussed. One of them being was like, for example, you start up an artist platform where you get other people involved. And I also mentioned about the public or the social enterprises that are there in Kingston. For example, the Pump House or the public art galleries that are here at Queens or outside Queens. It depends like which strategy you want to take. So for example, like for having a private kind of platform for non-public artists, I can share the screen. Like we prepared a website already, like where we can engage with the artists, we can get applications from the artists, so we can start building a platform. And so I'm just going to share quickly. So this is where we are right now. So basically, various artists, we can get them, we can help them set up on various platforms that are already out there, and they can create their own personal collections. As I said, they can be original physical art that they already created. We can NFT that, or we can help them set up new NFT arts. And in the NFT world, they call them like there are other stuff as well, which we call NFT projects. And you may have heard of NFT drops. So what NFT drop is basically that these artists, and it's not just like artists, visual artists, even coders can create art. So you can create art using some kind of artificial intelligence, I would say. And then you can do NFT drops where there is market for those people already. And then those NFT arts that are minted through NFT drops, they can then also be presented on secondary platforms. I hope that answers your question, and I didn't make you more confused. If there's any confusion, you can let me know.
Peng, you have a question?
I have about 4, Craig. So I'm
okay.
I'll leave them out, and you guys can answer however you like. So maybe it's just me, but I didn't really quite grasp what your business model is, other than it's a NFT for Kingston Arts and Culture. Are you specifically have a software, is it a service-based business, or is it a product-based business, which it wasn't clear to me. So that's your first question. Your second question is, I didn't quite understand your revenue model, maybe because I don't understand your revenue model because I don't understand your business model. It was not clear to me. And if it's based on NFT, does that mean that if Mayor Patterson decide to buy your product or service, so that has to be further defined, is this going to be a Bitcoin transaction versus hard cash? So, and do city in general have the expertise to manage Bitcoin? And if whether this is a product or service, once you help us define it, and if it's specifically to, let's say, Kingston, where let's say it's a product, then you can grow with it. If it's a service, then that's harder to scale up. Is Kingston market big enough to create a business model like this, where people may want to, as you said, take their arts or their music or whatever to translate into a digital format for, like you said, NFT? And are there enough buyers that wants to buy it?
Okay, so
great presentation, by the way. I forgot to add that. It's really good.
There are about 4 questions I identified. So I would like to say that I mentioned a bit of answers for all those questions in the presentation. So this will have, for the city of Kingston, there's an opportunity to grow in the public sector area, and there's an opportunity to grow in the private sector area. And this is a service-based model. We will provide the service. We will not create the product. We can empower the youth to create NFT art and give them a platform from it. And we can empower the artists that are already there to come towards metaverse. Now the revenue model for this is basically when you provide a service, so whatever art they create, it has value in crypto. And what they use is not Bitcoin, they use Ethereum. Ethereum is another blockchain that's primarily used for decentralized finance, and it's used for not just creating NFT art, it's used in the health sector, it's used in all other, and there were really good ideas that were shared over here with respect to tourism, or like with respect to the town squares. They can also incorporate at some level blockchain. So having a blockchain expertise developed, I think it may benefit definitely in the long run, because it's used not just for cryptocurrency, it's used for other purposes. So talking more about the revenue model, so it will be service-based, but also, for example, these digital arts that we create, in the future, if there is ever a metaverse where there is a virtual museum, so Kingston has a good public art galleries and museums. So if there's ever a virtual world, you'll have that art, and it will be it will have value that is tied to some digital token, digital certificate, and that can be presented there in the virtual world. So you can present that museum. So yes, will it have value in the long run? Yes, there is very little or short investment tied to it. So therefore, like what we see is that there is potential here, and the service fees is one aspect of creating a revenue stream, but there are other aspects as well. For example, if you are managing those artists on your platform, you could tie service fees to that, and whenever their art grows, they have their original value that's given to the artists. And if it's sold online, they can also get royalties. So usually, for example, if we buy a painting and then we sell it off to another person for a higher price, the original artist never gets the value. So he probably sold it for like $1,000, and then the second person sells it for 10,000 and then $1 million or whatever. The artist never gets his value. In the digital or the NFT or the metaverse world, the artist will always get the royalty, and the artist can set the royalty. He wants 10%, he wants 5%, he can set that value. So there's like a continuous stream where the revenue is generated for that artist.
Well, thank you. I'm just going to
Sorry,
apologize for cutting. Yeah, I'm going to cut you off just in the interest of time. Very interesting discussion. I think we could probably go on for quite some time. This is quite an interesting proposal. So thank you very much. And I apologize, Norman. We'll have to discuss it in deliberations. I'll move on to our final pitch, which is called Resume Writer. And I'll invite Kieran and Ethan to be available, and I'll ask Amber to run their presentation.
Been on a job hunt? As students looking ahead towards the workforce, there are so many jobs we've had to apply to, and each application had to be custom tailored to the job description. It was a headache to continually have to mix and match our job experiences and expertise over and over again. This is a common problem that anyone on the job hunt has experienced before, especially as companies move towards automatic resume processing tools as a way to screen candidates. This is where Resume Writer comes in.
Resume Writer makes it easy to match your resume to the job you're applying for. You can pre-write a block of content, whether that be a job objective, a list of relevant skills, or past job experience. Then, when the time comes, you can load that block straight into your document with 2 simple clicks. Of course, once loaded, you can make any edits needed to fine-tune your content. Finally, when you're happy with your resume, you can export it as a PDF to upload to a job posting site. So here we are updating our resume, put on the previous details of our old job, and now we want to save this block. So we click a little save button here and we give it a name. And we save it, and then we'll see, here's our last job. Now let's add some of our past job experience, and run at the bottom we'll add some languages. Let's find our web development one, and boom, there you go. Resume's done already. Now we'll save it, and once you open it, we've got a resume. We added a field that's reusable, and we added extra features just like that.
Even though it's a saturated market where there are many products that help you write your resume, they focus more on aesthetics and layout rather than the content management. It's not easy changing your resume without having to copy it, paste it, move your important experience that's not relevant to the job, and making sure it's saved somewhere so you don't forget it. Copying your relevant experience from your past resumes, it becomes quite a hassle that can be easily fixed with our solution. No other platform allows you to access your personal storage of experience with just a click, giving you a resume tailored to your job application.
There are a ton of ideas that we have for future features. Some of them are simple, like letting you add tags to your blocks when you save them so you can quickly find it, or adding variables to the blocks so you can always reference the company you're applying to. Our larger ideas are having things like our software recommend the best block for you, so you don't have to waste time searching for blocks you've created, or even automatically creating the resume for you based on either you providing job details or with a bit of machine learning magic, reading the job for you. We also have plans to integrate a resume writing assistant to provide tips and pointers when you are writing your blocks. These features can be divided between a free and premium tiers to ensure that we have a sustainable business model and can bring Resume Writer to everyone.
The need for a job never goes away. Resume Writer removes the hassle of applying to jobs one block at a time. Thank you.
Well, that's great. Very interesting. The city's doing a bunch of work with using matching skills-based language from job postings. So I'm really curious. Jim, I see you have a question.
I do, but I'm going to see it. Norman, do you have a question you want to go with first?
Okay. Good idea. Sorry, Norman, anything?
No, my question was for the previous team, but
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't mean to put you on the spot. I mean, I'll offer a suggestion. If you can make an academic version for academic CVs and things like that, it's a smaller job market size, but something to replace the Canadian CV. Oh, did I say that? Yeah, anyway, to build on Craig's point, you talked a lot about the pain point of, the resume creator, but I'm just wondering, could you talk a bit more about your plans for how to actually extract features from job opportunity postings so that you could do matching?
So there's a lot we can do in the realm of just like taking a PDF and scanning through it. And then there's also a lot of opportunities when it comes to natural language processing, to really read through it and see like, oh, I'm in the computer science field, and so is Ethan. So I have all of our examples are computer science based, but especially in the tech kind of fields, it's very easy. They list like, oh yeah, you have to have experience with these languages or these technology stacks. So reading through that is pretty simple.
And we, as well as like going on with like, you know, students and government, things like that, like we want to allow like our pilot to like run through the residents of Kingston first. We want to release it to students from SLC, RMC, and Queens to really get a feel of, you know, getting feedback and making sure like we are optimizing our user experience for them. Because yeah, like our pain point is like the struggle of, you know, yes, we can create really good, you know, have good experiences, but is it like, you know, it's once we get to that point, that job is, you know, custom, and like our resumes should reflect that as well to the job. So that's why we would love to continue to partner with, yeah, the students and people just in our community as well.
Question from Peng.
So great presentation again, guys. So I have a couple of questions. There were two big ideas that you have, and either way you go, I think are great ideas. And it might be all one big business plan over the long run. But you start off by talking about matching resumes to job boards, which I think is brilliant from a AI point of view, right? And that really, you know, for job seekers, instead of having to go through all these job ads, if you're able to do that, holy wow, that's very powerful. And then of course, the other part was, which I think are actually quite separate. And the AI, the back end, whatever you decide to do, I think would be very different as well. So there's the job matching, and then there's the, I'm going to help you, you know, build up your history of all these different jobs so you can cut it out and build up your resume quicker. That's great for a professional like Jim and I, and Jim, I'm picking on you, who've been around the block for a while and done a lot of different stuff. And, you know, you have a database of our experience that we can cut and paste to suit the job. So, you know, I'll go back to what Jim's saying. That's great for people who actually write CV and resume, but not so much for students that are trying to get their resume out there and are looking for work, because they don't really have enough history or database that they need to cut and paste. So really, who is your market or your first entries, right? Your target audience, that's going to determine which of your business model that you want to go with. The other part then goes back to what I kind of brought up with every single person is actually, so 3 points that I brought up a few times now is whichever business model you chose to go with, how are you going to generate revenue? And yes, in the beginning, you're not going to make money. You're going to, you know, you're going to be starving like the rest of us entrepreneurs who've done it. There's a lot of starvation, so I get it. But there got to be a business model over the long run to say, hey, you know what, if you invest in me 5 years from now, I'm going to make this much money and I'm going to start charging people X, Y, Z, right? So if it's about the resume matching, that's a different financial model than if it's like the resume curator that you talked about. So think about that. You don't have to answer me. And then finally, again, depends on which business model you go with, or you might just argue and say, Peng, I only have one. What are you, crazy woman? I don't have two. So that's fine too. These are just my opinion. If you think about it, the big gorillas in the industries, what stops them from taking your ideas and with their army of IT people and their massive bank accounts that can like quickly change their business, or not even change the business model, but add it that extra feature, right? So I think of all the web companies that are out there that, you know, company like me that buy the service to advertise. I mean, it takes nothing at all for them then to, you know, on the back end, add some AI to then match that first part of your resume to existing job ads. So think about what your competitive advantage are to prevent the gorilla from coming in to take your ideas before it happens. You can answer my questions or just more as a comment.
I mean, I think I speak a little bit more about funds and revenue, but I could talk about that first question. I think there is space for like university students. There's a lot of like in-school work and a lot of clubs and extracurriculars that I know my peers have been doing, and they've always complained like, I'm not sure like which ones to put in. It's so much work changing them in and out. So I definitely think we can apply to our students. And I think you're right though, like I think right now one of our main markets would be everybody who's be kind of let go over the pandemic or has to be working and is looking to change things up. They've been around the block a few times and they have lots of experience. So that's kind of like our first point is just helping people build their resumes faster, and then we'd like to move into more of matching them and using that machine learning.
Great. Norman, I see you have a question.
Oh, sorry. Is it okay if I just follow up?
Oh, sure, please.
Yeah. I think like our idea at the beginning is like, we want to generate our users. We want to make sure they have the best user experience as possible. And then as we like continue to collect data, that's when we're able to, I guess, launch these like machine learning models to allow us to really connect. So I think both like, user database and, matching go hand in hand. I think we would probably start with the user database first, which allows us to generate that data. And to talk about like the potential of like stealing like from other companies, like if you actually look at like the top 10, resume builders online, like none of them really talk about this content management. And I think like, if anything, that gives us an advantage because we see what they're doing and we can take what they're doing, what's great, because a lot of them do have a lot of great ideas like layout, aesthetics. These are not bad things about a resume, but we can take those things and add ours onto that and really just create a product that differentiates us from the competition.
Ethan, I think just quickly, Craig, I'm sorry, what you and Karen had mentioned, love it. Like, I mean, you have now decided that your business is actually to help people build their content right? So build up their resume, which is, you're absolutely right. It's very unique. It's different. Love it. So I'm just more of a suggestion maybe in the future to focus on that instead of the, the job matching as kind of like the first comment. And the other thing that, I think you want to touch on, Mary, what Karen kind of started but didn't go into depth is the fact that you're basically saying this software or this product that you have is actually to help people write the resume in a way that matched the job ad much better than just a generic resume that you just throw out there. So great idea. Thank you.
Thank you. I think a really great idea, but I still want to understand how it differs from LinkedIn. So if you have a job advertised on LinkedIn and it has the easy apply option, you can easily apply to that job or that role using your LinkedIn profile. You don't have to do any resume because LinkedIn already understands who you are as a job seeker, can rate your skills. Probably you've been even recommended on a certain of skills. So they really have like a really huge database of who you are as a job seeker. So what I want to understand is how is this gonna be different from, for example, that feature that LinkedIn is using right now? And also, I think another key issue is going to be like LinkedIn already has company profiles set up on LinkedIn, the HR teams on LinkedIn. How are you going to make sure that you get access to these job applications or job descriptions in good time? Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I can touch on that. I think, LinkedIn, when you do the easy apply, right? They see your profile, but you still have to send in a resume. And, the thing with LinkedIn, like your experiences, you can have a whole list of experience and the recruiter is still going to have to filter through, see what's, important or not. And that's why they still ask you for a resume. And that's where we come in. We provide that resume that streamlines the content that is, clear and precise to the job that you're applying to.
Just to build off that a little bit, that LinkedIn Easy Apply is specific only for LinkedIn. And I've applied to so many jobs this year. I'm graduating soon, so I've been firing out resumes, and so few of them have had LinkedIn Easy Apply. And even then on there, it doesn't format that data correctly. It's a bit buggy. Sometimes it misses dates. And if you have a lot of data on LinkedIn, you still have to go through and click a lot of things to configure it. So what we're trying to do is make this accessible and like a generic resume, and generic as in you can apply and use this anywhere, not just on LinkedIn.
Jim, I see you have a final question.
Very quick question. It's been a fascinating discussion. To build on the points that have been made, and I think something more substantial has come out of just this discussion. Have you thought about how you could use this as essentially a professional portfolio builder? So just to build on that curation discussion that we've had, because and the reason I think that there could be something interesting there is, otherwise, if it's just to create a resume, it's kind of, once and done, and then you start thinking, okay, how often am I looking to create a resume once I've actually left university, for example, or college? But I'm sort of wondering if you could think of this as, a professional portfolio builder, that allows you to assemble artifacts along the way, not just straight blocks of text and things like that. And then the other quick idea I'll throw out there is, you could also imagine it as a sort of career, not a career, but a opportunity advisor. Okay, so in other words, if you could start imagining metrics that show sort of closeness of fit, from an advisory standpoint, for me, say, if I'm looking for another job, and say it went out and scoured it down, it scraped, various career postings, and has some sort of a metric that gives me some notion, or a dashboard that gives me notions of fit. Just some interesting ideas there. But I think that sort of value added beyond the mechanics of, beyond solving the immediate pain point of assembling resumes, I think is where you could build a lasting consumer relationship and then really see some value added there. Yeah, more of a statement, I guess. But anyway, it'd be interesting.
No, thank you so much.
That's fantastic.
I was just gonna say, then using the data, the metrics, that's something we definitely want to help implement with our user base. And as well as being able to partner with other municipalities and businesses that want to see the trends in data, from our experience, and help them actually optimize their job postings as well. So, we're able to, create that lasting consumer relationship.
Yeah, I think just to finish off, I think this is super valuable data that, companies have been starting to use, but I think people themselves don't use this data enough, because it's really who you are outside of your normal life. It's what you spend your 9 to 5 doing. So you should definitely look at that data and glean what insights you can. So it can tell you what kind of jobs you like, where you'd excel. And like Jim said, you can start building portfolios and websites off this data. You can start helping them find better opportunities for themselves. It's fantastic data, and in my opinion, it is not utilized at all.
Yeah, and gap analysis, what additional training, what lifelong learning should I be pursuing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, for the kinds of positions that I'm looking at. So very much I would, imagine forward thinking beyond the sort of immediate, I can get a resume faster. Okay, yeah, anyway, fascinating.
Great job. Well, thank you very much. We're at the end of our presentations. Some extraordinary ideas, a very broad range of ideas. I don't envy the judges in their deliberations, which is what will happen next. And perhaps, again, I can't thank all of you enough for taking the time and the effort to develop your ideas, to record them, to be here today. I know you're busy with school. You've had the disruption of the pandemic. You are living the journey of an entrepreneur and the struggles. So congratulations, amazing work. Maybe I'll hand things over to Amber, who will talk a little bit about sort of our next and final phase. Amber?
Thank you so much, Craig. So for our judges, in the initial calendar invite that I sent you, there is a Teams invitation. So I'll ask you to leave this meeting, join the Teams invite for your deliberations, and then rejoin this meeting via the panelist invite that you were provided in that email. Just shoot me a message if you have any issues. We will say to all the students, take a 10-minute break, turn off your cameras, turn off your audio, go grab a coffee, whatever you need. We will reconvene. It's 11:35. We will reconvene here at 11:45. The judges might need a little more time than that, but I want to make sure we're all back and ready to go for the announcement. And so with that, I will, as well, if you have any outstanding questions to our audience, feel free to throw them in the chat for the teams. When we reconvene in 10 minutes, we will address any questions that are outstanding from our audience members. Peng, I see your hand up.
Yeah, Amber, where did you send that? I
just updated the calendar invite this morning. the original calendar invite.
Okay, so I might be a few minutes late because my Outlook, our company's updating our IT, so my Outlook has crashed. So I will.
Is there an easier way to send it to you?
Send it to my old Transformix email address, pang@transformix.com, and I'll lock in from there.
I will do that right now. Okay, we will see you all back here in shortly. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, bye.
Welcome back, everyone. The judges are still deliberating. We had no questions in the chat, so just hang tight while they continue to deliberate and we'll keep you posted.
I just realized that it says brieferses and not briefcases. I was wondering why it said briefcases, but no.
No briefcases. I can see our judges are starting to come back in, so we will get started very shortly. Oh, where it says we're ready to go. All right. Mayor Patterson, I will give you the floor if that's okay.
Super, thanks, Amber. Well, first of all, I would just like to again congratulate all 7 pitch teams this morning. It was an amazing morning. Great discussion, a real diversity of ideas, and I can tell you that as judges, we spent a lot of time talking through each of your ideas, and we're super impressed. And I'm not sure if Jim from DDQIC is back on this call or not, but one of the things that she again has said is that for all the teams, if you want to, although we can't award a prize to everybody, that if you want to reach out to them and connect and to refine your idea better, then they're very open to that as well. So congratulations, honestly, all great ideas, great pitches. So I'm going to talk a little bit about certainly my impressions from each of the teams. So first, ImpactIQ, an idea to help us and help residents with construction noise and disruption. I think that there's real value in that. I think that residents would be really interested in that. I think cities, municipalities, not just here in Kingston, but across the board, super interested in that sort of technology and how we can help to manage those issues. Town Square, guys, amazing idea. I was just, the whole time you were presenting, I was just thinking about all the different applications for this, for all the sort of city issues that we're always looking to get feedback and ideas, and thinking about how as a city we could do polls and neighborhood based, just a tremendous technology and really promising. Turning animal feed into solid waste. Shoya, that idea, so innovative. You know, we have such an environmental focus here, and so many other communities do as well, about how we can deal with and how we reduce our waste. And so being able to use a technology like that, organic, so creative. Project Hazelnut, Braulio, really impressed by the technology. And we're just thinking about like the applications for just, what you could do with that. Really impressive. So just really appreciate you pitching this forward. It's really great idea. Off we go. Guys, Sean, Salvador, an amazing presentation. Great video. You just knew how to just draw us right in, tell us the story, help us to imagine, what it would be like for somebody coming to visit Kingston, and just the quality that I thought you were emphasizing on is something that I think would really appeal to all of our local tourism partners for sure. K-Smart, Ahmed and Nonso, boy, talk about a great timing, talking about NFTs and the role that that has right now, and helping our arts and culture sector. Man, they have been hit so hard in the pandemic over the last couple of years. Being able to offer something like that as a new revenue stream for them, I think is really exciting as well. And then finally, resume writer, Kieran and Ethan. Guys, your idea, I think, has so much potential, and it really speaks in kind of the space that we're working on as a community, and I know others are as well, about how to, on workforce, how to better connect businesses with people that are looking for jobs. I think just a tremendous idea, great technology, but applying to an issue that's really top of mind for policymakers right now. So guys, as always, you made our job really hard, which is, that's what we want, but it was not in any way an easy decision. And so again, I think all of these ideas have potential to move forward. So let me kind of explain. I'm sure you guys know this, that basically there are 2 different prizes that were available. And I know that each of you had to select which stream you wanted to be in and what prize you were going for. So the first prize was for entry into the QIC program this summer. So the winner for this particular program, congratulations guys, it's Off We Go. Sean, Salvador, congratulations, guys. You've won the entry into the QIC program, again, with your high quality presentation, showing us that you're very capable of delivering on this. And I think there's lots of room to grow and to be able to launch that here in Kingston. So way to go. Now, there is also another prize, and that prize is the internship with the City of Kingston. Now, we have a winning team for this one, and this is not a team that you applied for this. We think that it's a great prize as well, because if you're able to take on this internship, we were talking with Jim at the QIC program, and you would still be able to participate in the education component of the QIC program and still be able to get the value added from that. But we want you to come and work for us at the city and actually build out your idea, launch it here, and then of course would be a platform to be able to pitch that to other communities as well. So the winner for the offer of the internship with the City of Kingston to come work for us goes to resume writer Kieran and Ethan. Congratulations, guys. We hope you're able to connect with us and work for us, but also be able to join the QIC program as well. So Amber, with that, those are the winners of this year's Mayor's Innovation Challenge. And again, a big thank you and congratulations to all of you for making this yet again, I think the best year yet. And great job, everybody. And thanks for all your hard work.
I will be reaching out to all of you, all of the winners individually after this. So yeah, we'll close it off for now. Thank you so much to our viewers, students,
Cameron.
Judges. Yep.
So can I just interrupt for 30 seconds?
Yep.
If you were not successful in this pitch competition, please do feel free to reach out. I put the link in for the Queens Innovation Center 2-year venture program, community facing, not just Queens. And it also has a structured program with access to small amounts of seed capital and mentoring and resources as well. So please do feel free to reach out. Love to have you. Thank you.
And just to add to what Jim's saying, like there are companies that's actually spun off as a result of this Jim's program. So if you are interested and you think you have a great product, I strongly suggest you connect with Jim, because there's already a couple of companies that spun off and they are running and growing. So great program, Jim, and great program, Mayor Patterson. Like, I'm just so excited for our community that there's a program that's supporting entrepreneurs and new ideas, because that's usually the hardest struggle, is to find customers.
Great job, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks
again. Great job, everybody. Congrats.
Bye.